DUROTIMI Adeboye donates journalism textbooks to Crescent University. Chief Executive Officer of Global Education Media, Mr. DUROTIMI Adeboye, has donated journalism textbooks to the Mass Communication Department, Crescent University, ABEOKUTA today. Mr. Adeboye, who doubles as the executive producer, Education Report on Lagos State Television (LTV), said the book donation is a contribution to enhance the training and academic development of the forthcoming media professionals in alignment with Judge Bola Ajibola's vision for Nigerians.
I donated this book not because of my friend and brother, but to the memory of the great and illustrious founder of this institution. It might not be very and completely wrong for me to say that my engagement with Crescent University predates its founding. Might not be entirely wrong. Technically, if the lawyers get involved, they might swing it the other way, but I believe in my heart that my engagement with this great institution is not, predates its founding. I worked under Dr. Adeshino on African Concern. That was the first publication that Baba owned and supported and funded. I was a director of research and development in that in England, back in England. I won't want to take too much of our time, but there's an encounter I had with Baba that triggered Dr. Adeshino to ask me a question. Till tomorrow, I have not been able to find the question. Maybe I will find out the answer in Kiyama. Maybe. Dr. Adeshino facilitated the meeting for me to see Baba in Milton Keynes. I went to Baba's house. I called him, booked an appointment. He gave me an appointment. So I think Baba calculated that before I got back from Kent to Milton Keynes, there is still enough time. So when I got home, I didn't meet Baba. I called. Baba said, sit down. I'll join you shortly. Whatever it was, I think he must have. He came back. Baba sat down. Suddenly, everybody that was with us in the living room disappeared. So I was left with Baba alone. I learned. It was a journey of learning for me. Baba asked me a lot of questions. I answered. He shared perspectives with me. Of course, the dominant aspect of that sharing of perspective was Crescent University. So you can see that Crescent University was located inside my heart. It was a vision that I was privileged to share in its conception. And now to see that institution manifest into such a glorious entity, an entity that has yielded the likes of Daniel to me, to enjoy, to even learn from him, because Daniel embodied the value of this institution. So this institution was in my heart. When I finished my meeting with Baba that day, Baba said, Joko Mombo. Not Mombo, Joko Mimbo. In the real Lagos language. Baba went upstairs and came back and gave me £100 cash. Cash in 2020. I will never forget. So I now called Mr. Adeshino and said, if I may do Baba to fún mi lówó ọkọ̀. It just means that you bring something to an elder. Now, I didn't. On top of it, Baba gave me. Traditional asked me a question. Kí ni nǹkan tẹ́jọ sọ tó lè fà á tí bàbá máa fi gòkè lọ tán lọ ka £100 lé lọ́wọ́? Bàbá ò kì í ṣowó bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn o. Bàbá máa wọ́n manage fund. Bàbá kí ni nǹkan tẹ́jọ sọ? And that speaks volume of the man. That speaks volume of the content of our conversation, and now its manifestation, and it is my great delight and in honor of his great memory to actually present this book. They are not large in number, 25 copies. I'm sure we will go far, but I hope that the next generation coming after us will make good use of it, and you will talk about it and talk about why, which I have explained here, this book was donated. My last request, we go to the current students and those who have not. The Vice Chancellor, Professor I mentioned Amos Tutuola's the palm wine drink card. Please, whatever it takes, read it. Thank you, and thank you again.
While presenting 25 copies of the book titled Anything and Everything Journalism, authored by veteran journalist of high repute Mr. Azu Arinze, the donor, Mr. DUROTIMI Adeboye, acknowledged kind gestures, sacrifices, and inestimable efforts of the late proprietor of Crescent University, His Excellency George Bola Ajibola, in the educational sector, nation building, and his service to humanity. Talking about the book's quality and content, the author, Mr. Azu Arinze, highlighted the wealth of knowledge as contained in the book, saying it is enriched with the experiences and recommendations of many accomplished and well-known Nigerian media veterans, whose antecedents are worthy of emulation by practicing upcoming and future journalists.
To write this book actually took me about 10 years, and I'll tell you why. You know, what I wanted or what I set out to do was to sit down with those who have excelled in the profession in Nigeria. And pinning them down was not easy. Like yesterday, I was with Baba Segun Oshoba. But what I did was to sit down with all these people. I sat down with about 50 of them. What I did was to sit down with them. Some for 1 hour, like with Baba Oshoba, I sat down with him for about 2 hours. Well, I needed to find out how they did it, how they were able to get to how they were able to get to where they are today, the mistakes they made. If you're a reporter, how do you get exclusive stories? To conduct an interview, what will make the interview interesting and stuff? So why it took that long was because, you know, some people, to pin Baba Shaba down was like, you know, until we became close. You know, then trying to pin him down, some would take you 1 month, some would take you 2 years. You know, that was also moving from media events, one media event to the other. You know, so the whole idea is, what I also tried to do was we got people in the print arm of journalism, we got people in online, we also got people in broadcast. So wherever you want to specialize, there are people who have excelled in that field, whose stories I want to do that if you read and you imbibe, you imbue, you practicalize, you assimilate all the things or some of the things that they have done or they have suggested, that you will also excel.
In addition, Mr. Arinze said the publication was born out of his desire to Nigerianize the textbooks used in the academia.
One of the reasons I chose to write this book, back then in school, the bulk of the mass communication books that we read were written by foreigners. And I felt that we needed to also Nigerianize what we're doing.
Earlier in his welcome address, the Vice-Chancellor of Crescent University, Professor Ibrahim Bajabiamila, raised his concerns about the large number of out-of-school children in Nigeria. While appreciating the donation, he condemned the bad reading culture of today's youth, blaming it on their addiction to social media.
A decline in reading culture. You know, that is because of the social media and various other issues has meant that our reading culture has declined considerably. And that is not the way we started. You know, we had a number of distinguished authors in the 50s, 60s, and I always remind the students that the level at that time was very high, and that the issue, I think in 1958, 1959, before independence, and for the record, that most of our fathers at that time took University of London degrees because UI did not have degree awarding power. In fact, all students at UI took University of London degrees, which meant that it was a Commonwealth exam, which meant Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Nigeria, Ghana, they all sat the same paper. So you at least be able to compare standards and be able to see how things are.
He therefore confirmed the donor's gesture is of great benefit to the university students, saying it will further advance the proprietor's vision of a well-educated Nigeria.
I want to thank you for this donation, and also that you've chosen our university and to support Baba's endeavor. So the issue of the facilities, and of course we are very proud of our mass comm department. So far, up to the last accreditation, they scored the highest. I think we keep arguing whether it was 90.1 or 92 point, but so and the highest that you need for full accreditation is 70%. So when you get 90 plus, it's almost unprecedented. But to get it once is one, to get it twice consistently is another indication of excellence of service provided by the people, regardless, as I said, not well remunerated, but all the assessors that have come here have always commented on the enthusiasm of the lecturers and the performance of the students all over the world. But nonetheless, we are not jealous at all, because we know that if you are donating 20 books to them, you will donate 40 books to us or whatever. So that is clear. But we also celebrate your philanthropy. We also celebrate that you want to give, because I think it's very, very difficult that you have the intellectual property that you have developed, sir, the cost of it and everything else, to just give it to somebody for the benefit of humanity and for the benefit of our students is something that we appreciate greatly. So we are indeed very, very grateful. I want to thank you very much for that.
In his remarks, the head of Department of Mass Communication, Dr. Kola Adeshina, after expressing gratitude on behalf of himself and his colleagues to the donors, praised the Vice-Chancellor's dexterity and leadership style, evident in the progress made by the university under his watch, one of which is the coming of different donors, sponsors, and partnerships enjoyed by the institution in recent time.
You have taken it to the right direction. This department that Department of Mass Communication that you have come to is a hybrid in terms of what mass communication should be in Nigeria. What we have done, we have been able to mix both theory, models, and practice together at the very highest level. You can see a thread in my speech. We are following the directive of Baba. He said we must always offer our first-class brothers teaching jobs first. And if there is a long list of applicants to this university, we must consider our products first, and that is exactly what we have been doing. Because if you cannot take your drug yourself, I will not buy it from you. So that is what we're doing. So thank you again, Mr. Adeboye and our author here. We lay a lot of emphasis on the practical side of the work, because mass communication is a practice-oriented course. So thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Minister.
Allah is almighty, source of knowledge and all wisdom. His commands we all follow, as expressed by Muhammad, the teacher of all teachers. Allah is almighty, source of knowledge and all wisdom. His commands we all follow, as expressed by Muhammad.